at the basic level.
And that one that was throwing out the spells, that was the Baron's wife or sister-in-law or
Sister.
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 Yep.
Okay, so Father Crow would like approach her, say, "It looks like you can use a drink. Why don't you tell us your story at the end? We all need a rest."
She'll look around and say, "Before that, is it true about my brother?"
Father Crow will nod solemnly and say, "I'm sorry for your loss."
She'll nod and she'll say, "Then I have a family matter to attend to. I have to inform my brother's son about what he must do and all that he must know. That should fall on me, and it should fall on me now to take care of."
Speaking of, we think the Archbishop would be a good role model for his son to prepare him to lead this town. I think it would be best if once you're done talking to him, to the son, you go meet with the Archbishop.
She'll nod and she'll say, "My brother did provide for me a request to sit as regent if his son should ever come into power before that's not coronation, before his coming of majority."
Yeah, did he have that in writing?
She'll say no, it was an informal request, and I understand, given everything that's happened, that you might be hesitant for that. So I will leave it to the son and to the Archbishop. If you'll take me in, that's wonderful, and I can help him. If not, then, well, I'll return to my house and hope that the Church of the Church of Arathis has need of me at some point in the near future.
I would hope that you would stay in town.
Yeah, you're welcome to stay here and proceed where your brother left off. What did you know about his dealings that might have led to his abrupt end?
She will pull a letter out from a satchel she wears on her armor, and she will say, "I know it was covered in this letter." And she will...
What is the letter?
He would say, "May I?" and then take the letter. She gave it to him.
Yep. She will hand over the letter. The letter is very short. It covers two main toppings. Two main topics. The first is the nature of the meeting itself that he had scheduled. The nature of that meeting was to discuss a marriage between his son and the princess, like he had mentioned before. It would cement even further the peace treaty, or the treaties and the friendship between Ketten and Orland, and it would maybe allow them to solidify and relieve some of the pressure that Kayford and Estminster felt. Kayford is a port city. Estminster is is part of the Marchlands, which is basically just border countries.
Yeah.
And, with the marriage and cementing those deals, Kayford would feel less pressure because then it has a close ally that also shares naval power, and Estminster would, it would feel more secure because the Orland military could dispatch and help them if they run into problems with any of the strange creatures that might exist out near Estminster. There are strange talkings of black-skinned creatures, mammoths, other strange and weird oddities near them. So
it seems the envoy from Orland to Ketten was merely a facade for was it like a jousting tournament that they were going to have or something? That's what their original cover story was for going through Hillford?
Well, the Lady Tessa will say, no, there were, the envoy was truly going to Ketten for the jousting tournament, but when they stopped through and had to spend some time here, my brother had a chance to continue his his discussions that he had been having with Orland, or with the princess and with the royal family. She'll say, you know, while it might seem like they were only using the tournament as an excuse, they were truly heading for the tournament.
So an alliance between, Hilford and Orlin will obviously improve Ketten's trade. So I guess would Wesseldorf be the ones behind this in a way?
She will shrug on that and she'll say, I honestly don't know personally. Wiesdorf doesn't have any reason to like us, but I don't think they have any reason to provoke a war either.
At this point, Pym will speak up and he goes, you know, knowing the geography of the area, if Orland and Ketten, especially Highford, Kayford, and Estminster, were to have a mutual bonding time, they would control this port here, basically, completely cutting off this part of the Dominion from the sea if they wanted to. Maybe they have something.
She'll say that's true, but as far as we understand it, that area of the Dominion is only theirs in claim alone. They don't, as far as we know, have any actual cities up there. They claim it as ancestral lands. Occasionally, one or two of them will make pilgrimage, but we believe that it's tribes of barbarians and other roaming societies and cultures that inhabit up there. This sort of duplicity is bred in not industrialized, in cities and settlements, not on the wild plains. But she will say the other topic is of much more note. He mentions a refreshment act or something along that line, and says that he fears that if left to their own devices, Ketten will destabilize and destroy itself. He says he's received numerous communiques from the Earl of Destone about some sort of plot or scheme to change ownership of the kingdom from the current royal family to another family. Well, they don't really mention who, but my brother views this greatly as, views this as a grave mistake, that any sort of conflict, be it open or open or covert, risks completely destabilizing the country and plunging it into a state of disrepair, potentially even shattering the kingdom apart into who knows how many pieces.
And that would be bad.
That would be very bad.
Did your brother ever tell you anything about his recent hirings of a court mage?
She will shake her head no. She'll ponder for a second and she'll say, "You stop drawing the penis. I see it there." Yeah, I know. There's a penis there. She'll say, "No, I'm guessing that might have been in regards to the Refreshment Act and his growing distrust of other Ketten noble, but before recently, he never really had a need for it. He could come to the Priory if he needed anything, minor taken care of, but I don't remember any reason why he would truly need a court mage. Last court mage I dealt with was in the capital, and he was there and hired solely to provide divining counsel."
I would nod and say, get some rest and see to your son. It looks like you've had a long day.
Nephew.
Oh, and by the way, does her cabin that's 5 miles away, is that to the east?
Um, yes, it is. Oh, it's northeast, but yeah, it's slightly to the east.
Hmm. You give her back the
Oh,
letter
oops.
and turn towards Pym. I think it's time we go into that ruined city, where the bandits were heading all those days ago.
To the ruined city.
Yep, the
Yeah,
ruined city of Argion.
yeah.
All right. Oops. What do I know about the ruined city of Hargion?
Not much. What you do know is that it is a city from the time of giants. Uh, People have tried to explore it, but none of the ventures have been truly successful. Um, Basic information is all the buildings are very large, very well designed, but none of the expeditions that go out ever really come back. Like, one or two of them make it back from the expeditions, but no more than that. They'll send out teams of, 20 or 30, get one or two back. They haven't tried to mount an expedition in probably 15 years, given how many have failed. Expeditions from Estminster, Cayford, Archgate, and one very long ago from Highford have all failed to penetrate the mysteries of the city. The people that do come back report, remembering a city, good architecture, basically well-designed buildings, but nothing more than that. They can't even recall what happened to their companions.
Well, I guess we should probably go out there and see what we can find. Um, well, maybe once Palm gets better, and we probably need to find a couple more people to go with us.
I agree. Well, it is dark at the moment, so we're going to need to take a break after that. But I suggest we start working towards going to the ruined city.
Yeah.
I need a minute to get water, so discuss what you want to do amongst yourselves.
Well, I think we need to hire some muscle. And,
Yeah, I agree.
And, yeah, I don't really know. Pim's not the adventuring type quite yet. He had a rough childhood and he thought he put all that behind him. He was content living in Highford.
I'll puts his hand on his shoulder. It's like, you don't have to come if you don't want to. I understand that you have your reserves about all of this. You don't have to be mixed up in anything you don't want to.
And Pim will nod and say he appreciates it. But as much as he might not want to do this, he knows he needs to for whatever reason. Like, it almost seems like it's like a feeling deep down inside, like he needs to go and do this. So he'll just say, no, I'll go with. And we all know Palm's always up for an adventure. So
Yeah. Of course, she might still be set on going to Stone. She was sure set on that one night when she came back, though.
that is true.
We still don't know why she chose to came back, because we weren't really privy to that whole looping incident. So
Yeah. I don't know. She's
I am
very
back.
She kind of just she's all over the place. It could be she got sick and she'll forget about it by the time she comes back and gets better.
So in the meantime, I think we should go to her cabin, see if there's anything of note there.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about Lady Tessa?
Yeah, might run into
Yeah.
some of those beasts or maybe some bandits who are trying to put a hit on her now that they've gotten out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to head off from Highford to her cabin?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll take a rest first since it is night.
Okay.
Oh shit.
All right. The night passes mostly uneventfully. Morning comes and the town is somber and silent, sensible considering all that's happened. So, what do you do first? Do you just wish to go straight there to the mansion, cabin, whatever
Well,
type of building it is?
We would make our way from the Baron's house, like have one more interview with Lady Tessa now that she's kind of taken the reins, even though she's working towards putting her son in the leadership role, but she's going to be the kind of person behind the scenes controlling everything.
Yeah.
So I'll turn to her and say, we're going over to your cabin now to see about these beasts that have that attacked you. I have all the faith that you will live up to protecting this town, and know that if you ever need anything, that the Priory will be there to support you.
Roll me a religion check if you'd like. In all of your training, you're greeted or you're informed on the customs of other local churches and other local deities that are worshipped and such as that. If you wanted anyone in particular to be in charge of the town, this is it. Church of Arathis is all about community, the protection, and the growth of communities. Someone who was a Knight of Arathis would probably be one of the best people you could have to protect the town. So the town itself should be in very good hands.
And turning towards her is like, I was informed by my father that services for your brother will be made available should you choose to bury him in the Priory or wherever you have in mind for his body.
She'll nod and she'll say, I believe the Priory would be where you'd like to be laid to rest.
Then we shall leave this town in your hands, my lady, and try to find out what happened to your brother.
She will toss you a key. It's an ornate skeleton key. She'll say, should you find yourself in need of a place to shelter for the time being, or for the night, this is it. Or this will work.
Thank you. And I would also give her like a letter full of the inventory that we took of like all the gunpowder and stuff that was hidden in the tunnels. Okay. And also tell her of that arcane machine in that abandoned building that she might want to have dismantled or taken care of in some fashion.
Yep. She will begin stepping up to do the clerical work. And
then, yeah, if Pim is ready, then we will head out.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
By the way, I would like to turn towards her and ask if Pim could borrow a horse, since I have Carl, so it'd make the trip faster.
Yeah, you can secure a horse to ride to the cabin.
Turn towards him is like, you know how to ride, right?
Like, of course I know how to ride. Who doesn't know how to ride a horse?
Scotla didn't.
Okay, and we gallop off.
Yep. What the hell are you doing over there? I see that now. I couldn't see part of it until I scrolled over. The trip is relatively uneventful. Takes a little longer than you thought because the roads that actually lead up to the cabin are not well maintained. But upon arriving, you realize the mistake in calling it a cabin. The manor, it is a proper manor house, and if anything, it is larger than the manor house from Highford on the Hill. Very ornate, 2 stories, pillars out front to support awnings. Very, very well designed.
I'm just like, that's really good. I can never whistle like that.
But, yeah, it's 2 stories tall. It appears that it has some amount of a garden that it maintains, and really, really ornate and well designed.
So we would, I guess, approach the manor, and is it like a fenced manor? Is like the outside gate barred or whatever?
There is no fence. You're guessing the fact that it's off the beaten road serves as fence enough. And the forests. It is sort of situated in a clearing and surrounded by some pretty thick woods on each of the or most of the sides.
Okay, then I guess we would start by like walking the ground, see if there's anything of note, like any of those beasts. See if there's like, are they close to the? Is the manor close to like the woods line or anything like that?
At the closest, which is about around the rear of the house, there's maybe 20 feet between where you're guessing most of the civilized stuff ends and the forest begins. At the furthest, which is the side that the road approaches on, it's about 50 feet from the house itself to the woods. So, relatively close, all things considered.
So, like talking to Pam on the side while they're like walking next to the horses, I'd be like, so I expect if the bandits do rendezvous with the rest of them tonight, they might make an assault on this manor, thinking that she might still be here, and their goal to, of course, kill the nobles of Hillford, like, completely. I suggest we go about setting up this manor for any kind of assault that might be made against it. I'm sure they'll come in the night.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet. And maybe if we can put up a good enough defense, they'll think twice before coming after Highford again.
Well, it's my hope that we are kind of putting ourselves as bait. Maybe we can capture some of the bandits at least.
That's
so
true.
We need to put up some kind of defense against whatever might happen.
Yeah.
So I would suggest we map out the manor, like look, make sure we are familiar with every nook and cranny so that we have escape routes and everything prepared.
I will ask to get a perception roll from each of you.
Alright.
Well, Father Crow is the first to notice it, but Pim, you notice almost immediately afterwards several things. One is a very large number of tracks of footprints of actual human feet for like boots and some bare feet tracking through the ground here. And you also notice several animal tracks. You can identify distinctly a set of bear tracks and several set of what it looks like a wolf or some sort of larger domesticated dog tracks. They track through the grounds. They circle around almost the same way yours did and then break off into the woods.
That's odd. We could try to follow them if we wanted, just a little bit of the way, and see if they picked up or.
I agree. If these beasts are controlled magically, maybe the master that's controlling them can also see through their eyes. In that case, they won't attack if they think that won't be anyone here that are their targets. So I guess
It's
it'd be
true.
you have to backtrack where they came from. My hope was that they were ambushed on the road here, and it was just more bandits. But if they have already attacked this manor, then our little trap might not work after all.
Yeah.
So I suggest we do as you suggested. Let's mount up and follow these tracks.
Alright, both of you can roll perception again. Well, you don't get too far into the woods before you realize that they make great use of the density of the forest to mask and conceal their tracks. They do appear to be heading through the wood in a roundabout way towards the road again, but you can't be certain as you do sort of rather abruptly lose the tracks. However, it's what you find when you lose the tracks that's more interesting. A certain friend who you've met in similar situations once before. The wizard. The Caldric. The person who I named and forgot his name. Yes, Caldric.
This guy.
He is very badly wounded. He suffered some claw and scratching, a few bites. It looks like even maybe 1 or 2 stab wounds. He's alive, but you're guessing he's either barely clinging on or is exceptionally lucky. One of the two.
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna jump down from my horse and run up to him and be like, "You've lived 90 years. You can live another 10." And I'm gonna, try to stop the bleeding and make sure that he doesn't die. Is he coherent at all?
He's in and out as it stands right now. You do notice he's lost a fair amount of blood. But it looks like he had some amount of magical warding or magical protections on him. So while the wounds are very grave, for another person, they might have been truly fatal.
I would also assist in helping stop the bleeding and doing whatever I can to help heal him.
Once the bleeding has been staunched, Pim, you actually notice a secondary magic kicks in. Wizards have developed the ability they've developed a type of spell called contingency spells, which are just that, spells that trigger on a contingency. A lot of them are used for escape mechanism or escape plans, stuff like that. So a contingency teleport if they get hurt, stuff like that. This one appears to be some sort of restorative spell. You're not too sure on the specifics. Arcane Restoration is a very rare school of magic. Restoration usually falls upon the divine or medic or healers and chirurgeons. But color is returning to him, and he is starting to look somewhat better. But he's he's not going to be up and about for a little while.
Yeah, we should probably take him back to the manor and let him rest, get him patched up.
I agree. We'll have to follow these tracks again another time. But if I'm right, we might not have to after all. If they're watching us now, I suspect they're going to come after him at least.
Oh, definitely.
So we'd help him onto the mount and head back to the manor.
Yeah.
Okay. Exploring and poking about in the inside of the manor, it's a very large estate. It has its own internal armory, several guest entertainment rooms. So basically, multiple living rooms, a few studies, several bedrooms on the second floor, a vast dining hall, vast kitchen. But most of it seems as if it hadn't been used. It appears as if only one person normally lives in this house.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can find very easily a place to allow Caldric to rest up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should look for what the most defensible position is, and then, like, build around that. So, like, if it's like a room with one entrance.
The most defensible room in the entire house is the armory.
And then, that was gonna be my next thing. Go to the armory and see if there's anything in there that we could use to help with the defense.
The armory itself is an internal room. It has no window access. It is entirely within the house. It has 2 door entrances, however, one of them appears to be much like how the Highford on the Hill had, or the guard tower had the one-way door. The armory also appears to have another one-way door that goes out of it. So it has 1 real entrance into it, and it has 2 exits out of it.
And do the exits leave the manor, or do they just go into other rooms of the manor?
They go into other rooms of the manor. However, the one-way exit leads into the main hall. It pops you out right by a piece of furniture and it's basically a short shot from there to the door.
Okay. Well, then I think we should, yeah, like I said, just try to barricade it as much as possible. Maybe put the wizard in, like, the back corner of this room.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
There's enough
We can,
room that you could probably fit like a couch or a small cot in here if you can, and you can drag one from inside the house into there.
Yeah, we could drag like a pillows or a mattress, or like I said, a couch, something in there. Okay, so we'll move some kind of bed or couch for him to lay on and put in the armory.
Okay. You can secure
Awesome.
the house relatively easily. As for what's in the armory that could be used in the defense, there's various types of weapons. Really any type of weapon you might want, you can find in here. Other than that, there are various spell components, and there are 2 potions laying around.
can I figure out what they are?
Yes, you can roll me Arcana to see if you can figure out what they are. These are... I don't remember what they're called. They're the potions that let you spend a healing surge.
Oh, okay. Like potions of healing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what they're actually called.
Okay. So, I'm just gonna grab one for myself, grab one for Father Crow and hand one to him. And then, I don't need spell components, I don't think.
Not really.
So, yeah, I guess, I'm just gonna peruse over her stuff just to see if there's anything that I could put to use, but I think I'm pretty much set.
Yeah, there's not much here that would be of practical use to you.
Pick up a big old bastard sword.
Yeah, you can find one here.
I would take some of the spears if we have any, and use the bells and whistles that I have on Father Crow, as well as some of my rope, and start making snares outside so we can at least hear if the enemy comes.
Okay. Yep,
So just put the spears far enough apart and just put a line in between them.
Yep. Yeah, you can very easily make snares and such that would alert you to any presences outside.
Yeah, and then... Are there any mirrors in this house? Like, that I can move?
Yeah.
I want to try to set up the mirrors so I can like see out of the room and down the hallway some, so I can see people coming.
Okay. Yeah, you can set that up pretty easily.
And then I just want to go through and grab as much of like food and water that I can get my hands on and take that back to the armory also.
Alright. There's plenty of salted and preserved meats, a few barrels of water.
And then I'm just gonna try to put, I don't know, I think that's probably it.
If we have canthropes, or if not, just we can just break some glass. I would, like I said, I wanted to map the inside of the manor so we know exactly where everything is, and like on certain carpets, I would put crushed glass or anything to trip up the enemy. So if they're like running through it in the dark, they would catch their feet.
Yeah. Put some vases down in the middle, like the walkways. Any trunks?
Yep, you can fairly easily do this. There are a few good places that you can figure out to put them. As you're going to start moving a trunk, you actually notice that the wizard is stirring, and he is slowly waking up.
So I'm gonna go over to him then, and I'm like, "Rise and shine, sunshine. What were you doing out here?"
He'll sort of try and sit up and realize how sore he is, and he'll lay back down, and he'll take the few seconds that it takes a person who's suffered grave injuries to start, being able to function again, truly. And he'll rub his face and his head, and then realize the pain he causes himself from doing that. And, say, I was chasing down some attackers. Sorry, it's all a little fuzzy still. Attackers,
So Father Crow would stop him and say, "You need your rest. You don't try to talk too much, and don't move about, or you might open up some old wounds that are starting to heal."
I'll say, where are we?
We're at Lady Tessa's manor. She's the sister of the Baron.
Then I didn't make it that far.
Yeah, so we found you in the woods, bleeding heavily and barely conscious. Can you tell us what attacked you?
I was sent out sometime by the Baron just after he dismissed the rest of his family and such to come up here. He sent me out 2 or 3 hours later to head out here. I remember a few people and some sort of some beast of some sort. I didn't get too good of a look at it. I got a few spells off, but the next thing I know, I'm waking up here.
Well, we have a feeling that the bandits are going to strike again tonight. So if you can get any of your strength back by then, just in case, I think we're going to hold out in this room here.
We'll say, I did, I think, spend some time in this building. Were there any books out of place?
Not that I noticed.
Roll a perception check. Okay. Father Crow, you did notice that, while on the bookshelves there are a lot of, the books seemed like they were used a lot, so they sort of have that, slightly out of line with each other because they're pulled out a lot or put back in a lot. There was one that sort of stuck out to you, and now that he's asking about it, it did seem suspicious, all things considered, that there was a book that was really far out that someone might have put there.
I would ask him. So, and now that you mention it, I do remember seeing a book out of place. So what do you suggest? Does that mean?
It's I think that's my spell book, and if it is, then I can get myself back up and about fairly easily.
He would nod and proceed to the shelf where he saw the book and retrieve it for him.
As you provide it to him, he'll nod as best he can and say, "Yes, this is it." And he'll flip through the book or the pages of the book for a few seconds, and finally stop on one. And he'll say, "If you give me a second, I can expedite the healing process for myself." He reads the pages, or he reads whatever's on the page, and a light sort of shimmers over him, and while the wounds don't go away, they seem to diminish greatly, and he almost instantly seems to have a lot more strength to himself. He'll manage to sit himself up, and he'll say, "Well, that's better." So now you're thinking about holding up here for the night, seeing if they attack?
Yeah.
Yes, it's to be believed that the bandits that escaped might not yet be aware that the rest of the family is already back in Hilford. We're gonna try to surprise them if they do choose to attack.
He'll nod and he'll say, "Well, I have some amount of my spells casting back, and I can help defend if needed. Or if failing that, I can provide us an escape route. As much as it displeases me to do that, I can teleport us away."
That will be helpful. I would turn towards him. Do you remember a while ago that bandit spoke of his leader?
Yeah.
Or that woman that he was afraid of?
Yeah.
And I don't remember her name. Do you have like notes on her?
1 second. So Tim's like racking his brain.
Which means that the player is racking through his notes.
Yeah. It's like, not Kneebreaker, right? Devlin?
I forget. I was just wondering if they might have had something to do with this.
There's also Rogue. Yeah.
Do you remember what direction he said she was at? Because
The leader?
yeah, we basically said he didn't want to go that direction because that's where she was, and she would kill him if she found out he failed.
I can't remember.
Oh well. Yeah, I can't remember either. So
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing.
So other than the leader of those bandits, I can't really see who would be responsible outside of this. Like what's really going on with Ilford? Do you know anything about what could have happened around here?
You're talking to Caldric?
Yeah.
Well, we'll say, well, I don't remember those bandits you helped bring in when you found me discussing a woman, but as for what's going on around here, we originally had attributed it to, or myself and the Baron, the late Baron, the former Baron, we had attributed it to the general status of the country to begin with, but we don't, given everything that's happened, there's a lot of coordination going on here that's above and beyond normal banditry. Someone provoked these men or hired these men.
And then I would ask him to describe to him that arcane machine for developing magic. See if he knows any more details on it.
I kind of look at Father Crow and I'm like, what?
So you remember in that room?
The lab in
right,
the abandoned house.
Right. I apologize. Just there's so much been going on. So I turned to Caldric and I explained to him what we found in the basement there, and what I thought were traces of conjuration and abjuration magic. I was like, would you happen to know anything about it?
Well, I mean, a fully stocked wizard lab is expensive. I'll say that much. We're talking, from what you've described, 100,000 gold maybe for all of that. Spell development is not a simple or easy process. Some wizards spend their whole life making a single spell, trying to perfect it. Others, natural-born talents, make spells on their own, somewhat spontaneously, but they're usually either one-hit wonders or very disastrous for everyone around. But a fully stocked wizard lab that supports alchemy, spell research, and spell development, at least 100,000 gold.
Jesus.
So I'm guessing that wasn't your intended quarters for when you became the court mage.
He'll shake his head. He said, "No, the Baron was in the process of just doing some remodeling on the house and was going to install the lab in a second floor that he was planning on adding to the house. As it stood, he gave me a small study near his room that I could use. But as for the conjuration and abjuration, conjuration's broad skull. It can summon things into the world, or take things out of the world. Some amount of healing is conjuration. Calls forth positive energy from wherever positive energy comes from, and uses that to restore health. Could also be used for the opposite, the infliction domain of clerical work, or it's teleportation.
Teleportation.
And abjuration's an even more broad school. It's the school that wizards specialize in when they want to defend themselves. There's really no limit to what's abjuration, really. There's, off the top of my head, I can think of maybe 50 spells that are abjuration. So, without looking into it further, I couldn't tell you any specifics on that one.
Well, maybe when we get back to town, then we'll show you the room and you can investigate more.
A mod. So yeah, that would be helpful. I also think this is a good point to wrap up the session. Sorry that it was so short. Family commitments and all that. So, we'll be back next week with more Basements and Bears.
Yeah,
Yay.
take it easy.